What's up? Let's talk SPED. Hi, I'm Austin Jackson, a special education teacher who works with students with significant cognitive disabilities. In this video, I will share how I analyze student data to develop lesson objectives or learning targets, form small groups, and identify their strengths and weaknesses throughout each school year. You may download a copy of my item analysis Google Sheet in the description below. You can follow me step by step to chart your data in an organized manner to determine what your students need to learn next. I hope this information will improve your use of data and help you understand the importance of being data driven. Let's go. So now we start with the test. Your test could be um, data collection from a log, from tallies that you've taken. It could be from your task analysis. It could be using an actual test report from something like Unique Learning Systems benchmark. So I'm using the basic math benchmark, specifically coins, bills, and value. Okay. And Unique Learning does give us kind of like a category to put the results in, and they're saying to review and revise because the student earned 5 points out of 18. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to review and revise using the item analysis. So we can see that this student, got the first three correct, got the second two uh, wrong. And, we can see that even in the end, there was a consecutive error. So after the fourth consecutive error, that is when we stop testing. So what we're going to do, we're going to take these checks and X's, the right and wrong part, and we're going to put it into our spreadsheet. So on this item analysis, we can see the name of the test at the top here, coins, bill, and value, and you can rename this to whatever you are using. In the first column, we have questions. So we have question number 1 all the way to 18, just in case the students finish. I have student number 1 is here in the first one. So we're just going to put in that data. So of course, 1 point for a correct answer, and then 0 for an X. Okay, so the first 3, we're going to enter 1. For numbers 4 and 5, we're going to enter 0. This information is for us. This is not information for the student. So if there is a really bad grade that may hurt the child's feelings or something like that, we aren't really sharing this information directly with the student unless they are someone who's incredibly interested. So on number 6, they got that question right, which says which coin is worth 25 cents. Paige earning $1 got it wrong. Drew right. Chris wrong. Okay. And the last 4, of course, are incorrect. So once there are 4 consecutive errors, I just like to put in the letter CE so I know that there were consecutive errors right there. Okay. And then what we want to do is we're going to fill in all this information for the other students. So that's already been done. So now we can get into analyzing our data and looking at what exactly we need to be doing with this student. So if that student if they got consecutive errors, of course, we'll put the CE there for consecutive errors. So we know that this student earned 36%. Well, it's not just about the fact that the child failed and they are technically the lowest in the class. That isn't so much of an issue as understanding what questions did they get correct and what are they struggling on. So first we can go ahead and color code and say, okay, well, we see that we have students 1, 2, 3, and 4 here together, and all their data is entered. So now we can kind of get into the class averages. So what I like to do is I like to put the highest class average by question in order. So question number 2, we're going to double click the cell number 4 and move that up because 100% of the class got that correct. So if I'm teaching, I can scaffold this information, I can maintain that information, I can give practice for this information, maybe even homework for this information. For question 2, question 3 is a class 100. So I don't need to teach that intensely. Okay, question 8 was a 100% across the board. Okay, but we see that we're getting into the 80s. Okay, 80% of the class being able to understand in these questions is awesome. So right now we're just double clicking and grouping these so that we can see from greatest to least how well they're doing. So if 0% of the class got to question 14, we know that's something that needs to be addressed. We definitely have to teach that. Number 17, 0% of the class earned that. 20% of the class was able to answer number 12. Okay, 40% of the class was able to answer number 11. So from the least performing question in order up to the highest question, we're able to see what needs to be taught. Of course, it would make sense to maybe consider putting student 3, 4, and 5 in a small group for instruction because they may understand 4, right? But we know that student 1 and 2, they need instruction for that question, okay? And we know that this student here, student 2 and 1 and 2, they're both kind of doing the same thing and they both kind of have the same misunderstandings. However, when we look over here, when we get to question 15, 16, 18, 12, these students need to be in a group. So what I like to do is color code so that when I go back to this, I can see what I'm doing. So we know 100%, okay? And I like green, that lets me know, hey, we're good on that. 80%, not bad, but we don't want to leave anybody behind, okay? But 80% isn't terrible. But when we see 2 zeros together like this, we know we need to make that a group. So that might be group orange for question 4. I see where student 3 and 4 are missing questions 15, 16, and 18. So we can see what that question is. That might be group blue, okay? So the first learning target may very well be in small groups, we may cover questions 4, 6, and 7. And when I say we're going to cover that, what I mean is I'm going to look at the test, and we can look at that now, and we can say, okay, well, if this child needs something for question number 4, then we're going to talk about what? The worth of 5 cents, okay? or the worth of 10 cents. And that might be discrete trial training. That might be just repetition with some money worksheets. But I'm going to put together a, a learning cycle or a lesson plan that makes and ensures that these students understand the worth of coins. And so let's say I have now addressed um, coin value or the worth of coins with students um, 1 and 2. Well, that should bring this class average up to an 80 at the time of the next quiz, at the time of the next pre or post test, and I'm looking for them to improve. I'm also looking for 3, 4, and 5 to consistently get this correct. So they also will get some type of support or extension for that question. And so that is pretty much the gist. And we want to get everyone to just move forward, to show progress. So in a one-on-one, I identified that question 6. I managed to do question 6 with just student 2. Or if 6 and 7 are similar, then that might also be something that student 1 and 2 can do together as partners. So if we look and see what number 6 and 7 were, 5, 6, 7, show me $1. So see, that's identifying the actual bill or cash. So that might be discrete trial training, that might be a game, a money game. That could be a lot of different things. But what we're definitely going to do is make sure that we are specific and intentional about our small groups. Okay, so if you have questions or you need further assistance, just write your questions in the comments below and I'll be glad to help you. I hope again this really helps you understand how to um, be data driven, how to see the success in your students, how to see where you are doing better than you may think, and how you can move forward. Thank you. Have a great one.